Hello guys, welcome back to Salesforce Anytime channel. Did you ever wanted to deploy any of the Salesforce data from one Salesforce org to another Salesforce org? If yes, how did you do that? So in my case, I would actually take a backup of all the Salesforce data, all the Salesforce objects data using a data loader or some tool, Workbench, into my local laptop or desktop, right? And then I would actually load those data with the parent object first into the target Salesforce org, right? So you would have done the same thing. After you load the parent object, then you would load the children object of its, right, and with a specific order, like for example account, then its contact, and then whatever related records of it, right? So basically you have to maintain that order, and while maintaining that order you would have actually did some Excel VLOOKUPs, right, to look up the parent lookup IDs for the children objects you loaded right into the target org, right? So I have done this several times, and I have done some mistakes as well in the past while applying the VLOOKUPs. It is okay if it is one or two objects, but it becomes very complex if there are like 5, 6, 7 objects, and then one object might have multiple parents also, right? Like 2 or 3 lookup fields, and then it becomes complex to apply those many number of VLOOKUPs onto the same Excel sheet, right? And then you always want to make sure it's updated properly, right? So that's very manual operation, and it is prone to errors, and I have done mistakes also with that manual process. So what if we could actually automate this process and don't need to apply any VLOOKUPs or any sorts of manual looking up the parent IDs right from the target org? So I can show you that using PackMagics how you can do that. It's very easy. So before you do that, first thing you have to make sure is the objects you are deploying, right? Every object must have some kind of unique ID with that. So when I say unique ID, it must be an ID of sort, like external ID. First option is like unique external ID coming from an external system, for example DUNS number or any other account number from any other external system, which is unique, right, per record of that object. So if you have that, it's very good, but if you don't have, then we got a second option, like which is like we when we deploy our object, right, we just take the ID from the target org, the Salesforce ID from the target org, into our external ID field. So if you don't have any free external ID fields, so you got to create one external ID just to store the unique ID from the basically the source org, basically not the target org. So you can store the ID from the source object or source object record into the target org. So basically it will pursue the ID from which you copied the data. Okay. And then third option is that if you don't have any external IDs and you cannot create one just to store the ID of the source, right, source object, then I mean you can actually find out if there is a unique combination of the fields which can give you the unique ID, right? For example, name plus account number, etc., right? So if that gives you unique combination, then you can use that unique combination, but it has to be always unique. Okay, so I would recommend it, either of the first two options only. So just to make sure that you don't end up with any duplicates or overwriting the existing records, right? So this is what I wanted to show you, what we must have, and then let me go to the tool and show you how we can do this. So I've already logged into PackMagics. Let me see, refresh my screen just to make sure it's not timed out. Yeah, it's not timed out. And if we go here in connections, so I logged into my default developer org first, and then I logged into my target developer org here. So what I wanted to show you is I wanted to deploy set of objects and its data. So I'm going to select default org here as a source org, target org as a target org. Then my primary object I go to select as workflow. So basically I have 3 objects in a hierarchy: workflow, then it comes workflow action, and then each workflow action may have multiple workflow emails. Just for example scenarios I created those. And here obviously you have to select all of those related objects. So I'm going to select workflow. Make sure that you're selecting the primary objects also in this screen, because you want to specify the operations for it. Then workflow action, workflow email. So these are the 3 objects. I added those, and then I want to make sure I get the object details for these 3, so that it will pull up the fields related to it. And then we can configure what type of operations we want to perform in the target org for these. Like you can perform like either insert, update, or upsert is most common, which I perform. Basically you want to make sure if the record does not exist, just insert it. If it exists, just update it. So that's what we select upsert operation for. So once it pulls it, it'll take a minute or two to pull all the object details. Yes, now we can see that. So I'm going to select here, so as I said you earlier, right? So you can select insert, update, upsert. And if you don't want to update a particular object and just use it as a lookup record, then you select as lookup, as a parent lookup, if it's already inserted, right? So but I normally select upsert just to make sure. And then I'm gonna, so this is what I mentioned earlier. So you're going to select external ID field, which is a unique field. If you already have it from an external system data populated in the source org, that's good. If you don't already have it, just create a new one which will hold the ID from the source org. And I mean, these are the 2 options I recommend. I don't recommend the third option, which is using existing fields comma separated unique key combination. So I selected here copy ID, which is what it will do is like it will copy the ID from the source org into this field. Okay, so that will maintain our unique ID. So this is very good because if it was an external ID from external system, then we don't select this because it's already there, right? This external ID populated from external system. But if you don't already have it populated and it's a totally new field and you want to populate from the source org, then just select these. So it will copy it from the source org ID. Now you're going to mention the upload sequence. So you always going to mention the parent object first, then its child, and then its child again. So 1 2 3, this is the sequence, and you will get used to this once you probably know how to use this. And then you would know better your objects list, right? What sequence you want to load it. So once this is ready, I just click on this deploy object data to target org, and just make sure you read all these instructions and do not refresh your screen, because if you refresh the screen, it will stop the operation. It basically tracks all the operation from this screen only. And if you don't want to include any of the objects, just don't include it in this list. For example, if there are some lookup fields which you don't want to populate, just keep it here. And if you want to just populate the lookup records, just bring the object here and select the option as lookup. So that will not create or update any of the records for that object. Lookup here. just take a minute. And you can always go to your target org and check the bulk data jobs. So basically it will use the bulk data operations to complete your data upload. So as you can see, the first object has been completed and it's still processing the remaining object. Now second object has been completed, so you can see, right, 3 records have been processed. So just keep an eye on this records failed. So in some cases it might be failing some validation, so you'll see records failed here, and then you can select that particular record and click on download selected batch results. So now all of these are populated properly. You can see success message also here on the top, and if you want you can just select this and then click on download selected batch results. So this will show you if there are any issues. I mean, right now there are no issues here, so you can see this is successful, right? So this is what I wanted to show you, how easily you can load your data. Thank you very much for watching this. I hope if you have any questions or comments in the video. Thank you very much.